June 1826. Constantinople. The streets are shaking. Smoke rises into the sky. Cannons roar across the city. People lock themselves inside their homes. No one knows what will happen next, because today the Ottoman Empire is not fighting a foreign enemy. It is fighting its own army. The very soldiers who once conquered continents are now pointing their weapons at their own sultan. For nearly 400 years, they had been feared across Europe, the Middle East, and North Africa. Kings trembled at the sound of their name. They were called the Janissaries, the most powerful elite military force the world had ever seen. They helped build the Ottoman Empire. They protected its sultans. They won its greatest battles. Without them, the Ottoman Empire might never have become a superpower. But power has a dangerous habit. The longer it stays, the more it changes. The warriors who once fought for the empire began fighting for themselves. They became too rich, too powerful, too untouchable. Until one day, the Sultan made a decision that would change history forever. He ordered his own elite army to be destroyed. Thousands would die. An institution that had survived for centuries would disappear in a single day. But the biggest question isn't why the Sultan destroyed the Janissaries. The real question is this: how did the Ottoman Empire's greatest defenders become its greatest enemy? Today, we uncover the shocking story of the elite army that helped build the Ottoman Empire and then helped destroy it. But the story didn't begin in 1826. It began more than 400 years earlier. The Ottoman Empire was still young. Its enemies surrounded it. Every victory came at a terrible cost. The sultans needed something they had never possessed before, an army that would never betray them. An army with only one loyalty: the Sultan. So they created something the world had never seen. Young boys were taken from Christian families across the Balkans. Some were only 8 years old. They were brought to Constantinople, given a new religion, a new language, and a new identity. Everything from their past was erased. They were trained day and night. No luxury, no family, no distractions, only discipline, loyalty, and war. Years later, those children returned, not as prisoners, but as the deadliest soldiers in Europe. They became the Janissaries, the Sultan's personal army. They received the best weapons, the best training, and the highest salaries. No nobleman could command them. No governor could control them. Only the Sultan. Battle after battle, they proved why they were different. When other armies retreated, the Janissaries moved forward, fearlessly, relentlessly. Enemy kingdoms began whispering the same warning. If the Janissaries are coming, prepare for defeat. Soon, the Ottoman Empire started growing faster than anyone imagined. City after city, kingdom after kingdom, fell before them. The Janissaries had become the sharpest sword of the Ottoman Empire. But no one realized that one day, that same sword would turn against its own master. For nearly 200 years, the Janissaries were unstoppable. They stood at the front of every great Ottoman victory. When Constantinople fell in 1453, the Janissaries were the first to break through its ancient walls. Europe watched in horror. The impossible had happened. The city that had survived for more than 1,000 years was gone. The Ottoman Empire became a global superpower. Its borders kept expanding, from Hungary to Arabia, from North Africa to the Persian Gulf. And wherever the Ottoman flag was raised, the Janissaries were never far behind. Their reputation became legendary. European kings copied their weapons, their training, even their discipline. For decades, no army could match them. But then, success changed everything. The Janissaries stopped living like soldiers. They started living like politicians. Rules that once made them unbreakable were quietly ignored. Marriage was once forbidden. Now, many had families. Business was once forbidden. Now, many owned shops. Discipline slowly disappeared. New recruits were no longer chosen for skill. Many joined because of family connections. Others bought their way into the core. The elite army that had once terrified Europe was changing. Not overnight, but year after year, battle after battle. and no one realized the damage. Because the Janissaries still looked powerful, but inside, the cracks were growing. Soon, the Ottoman Empire would discover a terrifying truth. Its greatest army could still intimidate its enemies, but it could no longer win wars like it once did. And worse, it had become too powerful for the Sultan to control. The warning signs were everywhere, but no one wanted to see them. By the 17th century, Europe was changing. New weapons, new tactics, and new armies were transforming warfare. But the Janissaries refused to change. Every sultan who tried to modernize the army faced the same response: rebellion. The Janissaries no longer protected the throne. They controlled it. If they disliked a grand vizier, he disappeared. If they opposed a new law, it was cancelled. If they hated a sultan, his life was in danger. The empire was no longer ruled by fear of enemies. It was ruled by fear of its own army. Then, the unthinkable happened. Sultan Osman II, young, ambitious, determined to save the Ottoman Empire. After suffering military defeats, he realized the truth. The Janissaries were no longer the elite force they once were. So he made a dangerous plan. He would create a brand new army, modern, disciplined, and completely independent of the Janissaries. But before his plan could succeed, the Janissaries found out. Thousands stormed the streets of Constantinople. The palace was surrounded. Osman II tried to escape. He failed. The young sultan was captured, humiliated, and dragged through his own capital. Then, inside the Yedikul fortress, the unimaginable happened. The Sultan of the Ottoman Empire was murdered by his own soldiers. For the first time in Ottoman history, an elite army had killed its own ruler. From that moment, every sultan understood one terrifying truth. The greatest threat to the Ottoman Empire was no longer outside its borders. It was living inside its own capital. After the death of Sultan Osman II, everything changed. The Janissaries realized something. If they could kill a sultan, they could control every sultan. For the next 2 centuries, the empire lived in fear, not of Russia, not of Austria, not of Persia, but of its own elite army. Every reform was blocked. Every new weapon was rejected. Every attempt to modernize ended the same way: rebellion. While Europe built modern armies, the Ottoman Empire was trapped in the past. Battle after battle, the defeats began to grow. The empire that once terrified Europe was now falling behind. Then, a new sultan came to power, Mahmud II. Unlike the rulers before him, he understood one simple truth. The Ottoman Empire would never survive as long as the Janissaries controlled it. But Mahmud had learned from history. He knew if he attacked too early, he would die like Osman II. So he waited. Year after year, he quietly built support. He trained a new army. He strengthened his loyal commanders. He prepared for one final confrontation. Then, in June 1826, the Janissaries rebelled one last time. They believed the Sultan would surrender like every Sultan before him. They were wrong. Mahmud II raised the sacred banner of the Prophet, a call that united the people and the loyal army. For the first time, the Janissaries were alone. The Sultan gave the order. Fire. Ottoman cannons opened fire on the Janissary barracks. The buildings collapsed. Flames filled the sky. Thousands were killed. Thousands more were captured. The survivors were hunted down across the empire. In just a few days, the most feared military force in Ottoman history ceased to exist. History remembers it as the Auspicious Incident. But the victory came too late. The Janissaries were gone. The damage they had caused was not. The Janissaries were gone. The rebellion was over. For the first time in centuries, the Sultan controlled his own army. It looked like a new beginning. But the truth was far more painful. The Janissaries had not destroyed the Ottoman Empire in a single day. They had destroyed it over 200 years. While Europe built factories, the Ottoman Empire was trapped in the past. While Britain ruled the seas, France reformed its military, and Russia expanded its borders, the Ottomans were still trying to repair the damage left behind by decades of corruption and rebellion. The reforms finally began. Modern schools, modern weapons, modern soldiers. But time had already run out. The empire kept losing territory, one province after another. Greece broke away. Serbia declared independence. Romania left. Bulgaria followed. The empire that once ruled 3 continents was shrinking year after year. Then came the greatest disaster of all, World War I. The Ottoman Empire joined the war, hoping to restore its former glory. Instead, it accelerated its own destruction. For 4 years, its soldiers fought bravely. From Gallipoli to Mesopotamia to Palestine, thousands never returned home. Then, in 1918, the war was over. The Ottoman Empire had lost. Its economy collapsed. Its cities were occupied. Its army was disarmed. Its future was gone. Then, in 1922, after more than 600 years, the Ottoman Sultanate was abolished. The empire that had once terrified the world simply disappeared. History often says the Ottoman Empire collapsed because of powerful enemies. But that is only part of the story. The truth is much more tragic. An elite army created to protect the empire slowly became too powerful, too corrupt, and too resistant to change. And by the time the Janissaries were finally destroyed, the empire had already lost the most valuable thing any nation can lose: time. History teaches us that no empire falls in a single battle. It falls when it refuses to change. Because sometimes, the greatest enemy is not standing outside the walls. It is already living inside them. The Ottoman Empire wasn't destroyed in a single battle. It was destroyed the moment its greatest defenders stopped protecting the empire and started protecting themselves.